big hello to everyone who's joined in. Um and nice to virtually meet and chat. Thanks to Animation Express having this, fantastic forum open for us. Um, so, I mean, before we get on to talking about what we are here for, um, one question that I always keep getting. So I a little bit about myself. I am a comics creator, and I have been illustrating for Amar Chitra Katha and Tinkle since 2004. So hi Dipesh. We haven't been able to meet, but then here we are. um, and I have also been independently publishing my own content for the last decade or so, independently publishing, self-published, whatever you want to call it. Web comics has been, or digital comics has been, something of immense amount of interest to a lot of fans who come to me at Comic Cons, or those I exchange ideas and thoughts with on social media. Um, and more so, they have a comment usually that says, what do people generally prefer, and where does the actual pulse lie? Is it the physical form or is it the digital form? What are your quick comments on it? How the transition has come in from the physical books, the comic collection culture that comic nerds are known for, to now the digital platform where things are, I guess, easier and more accessible. Your quick comments on these. I think I'll start with Dipesh. Dipesh, if you can just start off this conversation, and we can just go on around
Sure.
round
Thanks,
robin.
and thanks a lot, Animation Express, for having all of us here. Pleased to be a part of this panel and to speak with industry leaders. Well, honestly, this is probably the first time I'm trying to represent the organization from a business perspective in particular panel discussion. So this year has been a complete shift in terms of how we view comics and how the businesses were conducted, at least till the last year, and
Hmm.
how we have actually kind of created our whole digital ecosystem in the last 1 year. But if I happen to answer your question, I mean, personally, I'm myself a very big comic collector. I mean, I might have at least 1,000 odd comics right inside my shelf, and whenever I feel like reading, I'll just go ahead and end up reading it. But how I see this is there are two kinds of people now who are actually consuming digital content. One who lie more towards the nostalgia side, who have been reading comics throughout their childhood, where video games, 8-bit video games, were very popular, and during summers we used to switch to comic books and pass our time out. But then now, at least since the last 5 to 6 years, the transition has been such wherein there are a lot of other activities that kids can engage themselves in. Imagine a kid holding a phone right at the age of 3. You can also understand the possibilities in terms of the resources that kid has. So obviously there are two different kinds of audiences that we are dealing with when it comes to the comic book industry.
Right.
One, nostalgia, as I said, and the others, which is the next gen audience.
Sure.
So the way in which the reactions that we got uh, during, I mean, it was not so pleasant for a lot of businesses, but some of the publishers did really, really well from April 2020 till March 2021.
Hmm.
We were one of them. And
Yes.
uh, the kind of people who started reading web comics again were the ones who were like, hey, we didn't know that you really existed. I mean, we thought you were gone. And this is like the best thing that we can probably read during this stressful time because we have grown up reading it. That was one
Right.
kind of people. 25%, in fact, 28% of people were such. And approximately 72% people were those who were just following the pattern. And these had a lot of parents suggesting their friends who probably might not have even heard of Amar Chitrakatha or Tinkle or any other digital comics,
Hmm.
and would have just suggested, hey, you know what, any which ways your kid is not doing anything, might as well engage them with something.
Right.
And to a surprise, these kids were actually um, I mean, they were introduced to the world of comics through digital and web comics for the first time ever, and they took it up in a
Oh.
very different manner altogether. So now, when we look back at this whole scenario, we see a very, very clear pattern. in terms of the kind of products also that we sell. I mean, there is the monthly subscription that we have, wherein people who just want to continue that trend for a period of, say, a year or a
Sure.
half a year, are the ones who pay for it. But there are some very, very big loyalists who would go to the extent of paying even 20,000 rupees to you as a one-time fee to keep all the possible digital comics in a single web application for them to
Sure.
read. So these are kind of transitions that we've been seeing, and I'm sure there are a lot of other things that I would be able to discuss during this panel
Sure.
discussion. But over.
Sure. Sure, that's amazing. Eric, I'm going to come to you next. What are your quick thoughts on this entire transition from physical to digital? Because the pandemic specifically will be another chunk of our conversation. But I'm,
Of course.
generally looking at the trend overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dipesh, said a really beautiful answer, and just to add a little bit to it, he's right. It's really two different audiences. I have a background in the music industry, and the parallels that I see are very much like Spotify and vinyl.
Right.
Vinyl is very much a nostalgia, collector-minded pastime, and there are people that swear by it. But there are also very many vinyl owners that have a Spotify subscription because, a part of living in the information age is being able to pay, a certain amount of money per month and then having access to the entire world, having access to
Right.
the entire archive. And what I think is beautiful about that is those two things don't exist in competition so much as they actually exist in parallel.
Right.
And I think that the nostalgia, the orthodoxy of the nostalgia, print-minded, Comic-Con oriented, groups will live on. It will just change. So that being said, the new audience, the next generation audience, is really looking to have access to, stories from around the world at their fingertips at any moment. And then if publishers are able to then use that to expand the top of their funnel and engage a much broader audience, they'll
Right.
probably end up seeing a lot more success to be able to then sell their print to the collector-minded people in there.
Absolutely. Ranjit, I'm going to come to you. And Pratilipi, in fact, I have interacted with at Comic-Con as well. And I do believe that there's a lot that Pratilipi is up to. What's your take on this, the entire transition that we were just talking about? And with you, I will transition into the pandemic effect of, digital comics and the platform. So let's hear it from you on this.
So my understanding is that digital and physical are not necessarily opposites of each other. I think they are kind of in a way complementary to each other. So what essentially happens for some formats, at least it's not necessarily true for every industry, is that digital provides a way of you to kind of find out what your best read is going to be. Because essentially the cost of distribution is very, very low on digital, which essentially means that people can sample, so to speak, a lot more content. They can figure out what is it that they really like. And then they can form communities around them. Our thesis is that once people have actually started forming communities around some content, in this case comics, then some of those who are super fans will likely want to support the creators in different ways. One of those ways would probably be just going and buying physical comics. So for comics, to be fair, we haven't yet launched physical comics, something that we are going to be doing, I think, sometime this month. But we have seen this story play out for our different other product, which is for online literature. There are a lot of readers who buy the physical books are the same people who had already read that story 3 times, 4 times on Pratilipi. And then they thought that, okay, you know what, I really like this book and I want to have a hard copy on my shelf so that other people can see that I like it and I can read it whenever I want and like at any point in time. So my understanding is that digital is going to expand very, very significantly over the next few years. And that will actually bring about a revival for physical comics as well.
That's an interesting take. And, just extending that, I'm going to come to Eric on the same topic. Just before we go forward, is Mr. Thakkar online right now of River Comics? We were supposed to have him on the panel as well. If not, I think I'll continue. I'll probably pop in a question to him once he's here.
Abhijit, he's joining in 2 minutes.
Okay, fine. So I guess once he does, we'll pick it up from there. But then, Ranjit and Eric, I mean, just like Dipesh said, the pandemic scenario changed a whole lot of things, especially in India. A whole lot of things when it came to the digital platform. Many people who are not actively. I'm talking about independent creators as well, like me, who probably weren't so open on the digital platform. I was pretty stubborn earlier, saying no, I'll be the purist and I'll be like the hard copy guy, so that I can sign the copies and draw on them and all. But then I realized that the necessity is the mother of invention, and I think that's exactly what has happened with a lot of indie creators like me. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts on how the pandemic has changed the dynamics. Have you seen a whole different scenario now, a whole lot of different numbers here? Maybe I can, since Ranjit was in conversation, maybe Ranjit can add in, and then we can go to Eric.
So in our experience, I think pandemic has accelerated the trends which were already there in a wide variety of different ways. So digital adoption across formats is one of those where, like, it was always obvious for the last 4, 5, 7 years that gradually the world was moving digital towards a wide variety of content consumption. Right. But I think pandemic just accelerated that massively. It's basically very similar to what happened with data prices, right? Data prices were always going down and more people were coming on the internet. But Jio basically just accelerated that trend very, very significantly. And I think the pandemic basically did the same thing in a different manner. But I think the end result has essentially ended up being the same. So for one example, let's say in literature product, we took about 3 years to get to 1 million monthly active users. Comics, I think we still haven't been a year old and we already have 1 million monthly active users.
Wow.
And at least part of that, of course, is the comics appeal. But I think part of that is just that pandemic accelerated the adoption curve we had.
Exactly. How about you, Eric? What's your take on the pandemic effect, if I may call it that?
Yeah, of course. Well, I just want to say it's wonderful to sit on a panel with people who know so much, because it makes my job really easy. Because I only have to sprinkle a little bit of extra. Basically, I think what Ranjit says is 100% true. And, what I'll just add to it is that people ultimately, love stories. And at, specifically Global Comics, we spend a lot of time talking to people who just enjoy that particular genre or that particular, perspective on the world, but aren't necessarily comic readers.
Yeah.
And, it really accelerated people just embracing the fact that we need to get these stories out. These are important stories. These are good stories. This is exactly what everyone is in need of the most.
Yeah.
And if print isn't going to be able to do that, if local stores aren't going to be able to have people, then we're going to need to tell these stories either way. And eventually we'll get back to some sort of new normal. But in the meantime, why hold off? Why cut the world off from what we're making and the things we're trying to say?
Absolutely. In fact, just to take one more step towards establishing this, I think Dipesh, Amar Chitra Katha. I mean, since I have been, I've grown up reading ACK, I've grown up reading Tinkle, and now Drawful. It's got a special place in my heart. But I was extremely thrilled to see the new face, the new design of the app, the entire upgrade you all did, and now you have the whole phygital thing also going on. Also, along with that, you have the other languages that you have opened up, which were not available in the middle, but now because of the digital platform, you've been able to open up your inventory, your catalog. You want to talk a little on this?
That's true. So, Abhijit, now there are 2 or 3 ways of looking at it. So, when the month of March began, we just ran one single campaign wherein we ended up giving all of our content for free for a period of 1 month, just to see.
I remember that. Yeah.
And in probably less than 20 odd days, we had over 1 million downloads. So, at that point of time, we were busy exploring ways in which how we can ensure our server doesn't crash and people are still able to enjoy a reading in a particular way. However, as time passed, we understood that once the freeloaders are off that particular comic, the business suffers in a different way. So you have to keep on exploring and figure out different ways to do it. In fact, that is something Marvel already did 2 to 3 years back when they actually came up with an unlimited subscription, something like Netflix did for television when it changed the reality of how television is actually viewed. We also did something similar with regards to our subscriptions to begin with, wherein we came up with unlimited subscriptions, wherein we saw a decent turnaround for it. Then we thought that there is a market for our different languages, the content that is being made in different languages as well. So we slowly and steadily reached out to small bunches of people to figure out how it's been, adapted, or probably how it's actually been, about the kind of response that it's actually getting. And to our surprise, people just wanted more and more. And there came a time wherein we ran out of digital content, which was actually converted in those languages. So
Wow.
again, a different transition started where we have kind of now streamlined our processes in terms of converting comic books right at the time when they are being created into different formats.
Right.
I'm glad that Ranjit is here from Pratilipi. I mean, probably some of our Hindi content, some other language content is actually being consumed a lot more on Pratilipi, more than it is actually being consumed on our own platform. That clearly shows the way in which that business is growing as well. Um, what is interesting is when it comes to the phygital market, and in fact there are two products which are going to be very very popular going forward, because how we have been able, I mean, as a digital person, and the way in which I've seen the whole product transform for the comic book industry, in terms of the applications, always had a feeling that we have to be ready, and there will be a time where a lot of people would harp onto the platform, and you just
Yeah.
have to be ready in terms of how you can deliver that platform content to them. But now that we have delivered it, they would want more. Unless and until you keep on delivering it, they would come a time where they would again move out of this platform. There would be nothing. So that's why the phygital product came into the picture, wherein the digital product, like Ranjit mentioned, that it gives people choice to figure out what do they like, and then basis that they keep on printing it. We actually did something similar. We kept on we kept on creating content weekly for, say, our another app, which is Tinkle, and of course
Hmm.
you are well aware of it. Wherein over the last 12 months we came up with weeklies, and basis the feedback that we got from people, we just came up with a Tinkle Gold collection, which
Right.
had all the stories throughout that one year, which went out as a collectible, and
Right.
is the kind of product that we would want to sell, because then you can exactly anticipate how many people are going to purchase from you, and then kind of make a business plan for it. And the latest product that is actually working for us, and obviously we have opened it to a limited set of people, is the lifetime subscription for reading.
Right.
I mean, just pay it once, be it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Have the app forever, as long as you have the app and the subscription, as long as the database is alive, which is going to be forever, because we have kind of created in such a way that it will last itself
Sure.
for years to come. You would be able to enjoy the comics irrespective.
Sure.
So for a one-time single payment, people can enjoy a lot more. But what that means is you are increasing a lot of stickiness within your product. And now that you have those many number of users, you can keep improving your product again and again and again and again, and keep on earning revenues in a different way altogether. I mean, by putting in advertisements, by making them play games, or whatever it is, because they have already invested within that app just for reading. But
True.
everything else that will come out of the app are now going to be actual revenue generators for you. So,
Sure.
as we call it in marketing terms, the daily average users and
Yeah.
monthly average users, we just have to keep on increasing them, make them sticky enough, and the revenues will keep on flowing.
Makes sense. Makes sense. In fact, we have Mr. Thakkar from River Comics who's joined us right now. Hi, hi. So I'm just going to come back. We come back one question, and I'm going to get your thoughts on it very quickly before I pose the next big question to you. Is that the first question we started this whole conversation was the transition from physical to digital and the effects of the pandemic on the entire digital platform. How has it changed the dynamics?
Well, I think it's really important these days, right? I mean, with the pandemic, not a lot of people are reading comic books physically. They're not really going into stores. The lockdown is there, so it's impacted sales a lot. It's impacted the quality a lot. Um, like a lot of people, it's impacted the actual shipments and all that as well too.
Yeah.
So it's impacted all major levels of just the physical comic books. So I think people are leading more towards the digital comic age now anyways. This was already a transition, but I think it's this just speeded the whole process up.
Right. Right. And I'm going to come to Eric. There was a point that he made, which I actually wanted him to expand on further, and I completely agree. It's like if the audience is able to access world content, I mean, you practically have opened up the entire world to a reader. The content is out there. There is no more, a logistical issue or something like, all these other things that we keep talking about, distribution, etc., etc. Can you expand a bit more on the kind of content people like to consume with the kind of world content out there? Uh, just a quick example out here in India, manga is pretty big. I mean, people, we have our usual favorites in comics, but then there's an entire different fan base for manga. In fact, I do know about a lot of manga clubs that are around, fan clubs. What's your take on the opening up to the world content aspect of digital platforms for comics?
Yeah, so I mean, with what we have found, I mean, we know that things like, especially in the United States and in Europe, people are really into. I mean, really, as long as the story makes sense in their language and it's a good story, it's something that they're going to read. Sci-fi readers like sci-fi things. There's an immense amount of manga readers as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we really want to head towards is this, localizing these stories. Chris, our CEO, actually built this platform back in 2008 called Manga Helpers.
Okay.
And that was Manga Dex before Manga Dex came along. And, there is this massive, voracious audience for manga, especially in the United States and in Europe. And there's not really a very good pipeline to get those stories through. So there is this, I think there's a huge demand for manga stories in Korea as well. But, honestly, I mean, we have comics from probably 40 different countries on our platform in a variety of different languages. And as long as it's, reaching people in their language, I mean, a good story seems to just make its way through people. That's what people want to read.
True. I think the content eventually is the king here. But I think it's a brilliant thing that all of you have provided platforms for readers to pick and choose and kind of have the entire access open to all this. In fact, Ranjit, with Pratilipi, like you just mentioned, like comics, as the numbers you gave us right now, how it shot up, and you do delve into a lot of other content as well, not just comics. Can you tell us the kind of content that is consumed generally on your platform? What are the trends you see? And I'm not talking specifically only comics. I know we are talking digital comics here, but then I want to hear from you about a platform like Pratilipi. How does it go about, accumulating all the content and making sure that there's enough for everyone to access?
So honestly, I think the best part about internet and having very low cost of distribution is basically that now you don't have to make sweeping judgment calls on what works, what doesn't work. So I think, like, let's say even 5-10 years back, publishers would basically decide, okay, this is a genre that works in this country, so I'm going to publish books in this genre.
Right.
Like literally, I've been reading about Game of Thrones that was being rejected by different publishers because they said, okay, fantasy is dead. The beauty of internet is that it doesn't matter anymore. Like, even if it's a relatively niche genre, that niche can mean like 1 million really strong fans, and 1 million really strong fans for any one IP is actually pretty awesome. So I think the beauty of internet and internet, like the companies which are truly built on internet, essentially is that you can have a wide variety of birth, and then you build basically technology and recommendation to figure out how to show content that people want to read or listen to or watch that they are interested in. You don't need to focus on any one particular niche anymore. You don't need to focus on any one particular genre anymore. So one of my favorite products as a user, not as a founder or product manager, is Naver Webtoon. And that, like, there are a bunch of fantastic fantasy comics. There are a bunch of fantastic slice of life comics. There are a bunch of fantastic romance comics. And like, it's up to you to pick and choose whatever you want to read. Like, why say, okay, I'm only going to eat chicken and not mutton and not dal and whatever you want.
Yeah, that's
I think
right.
that is beautiful.
That's right. So I'm going to ask Mr. Thakkar about this. If you have, I mean, we've seen the positives, we've seen how it has benefited, the entire scenario. What are the challenges you face as a digital platform when it comes to digital comics? I mean, I'm sure there are some hurdles that you facing, or maybe some new ones come up? How do you tackle those?
I think the major hurdle we face is marketing and spreading awareness. That's the key to anything, right? And you have to have strong marketing, and you have to have a really good team behind your product. And obviously, you have to have a good product, right? If you don't have a good product, it's not going to sell well. It has to touch your audience. It has to reach them personally on a level. But besides that, I think the marketing is the biggest challenge. Producing them is one thing, but then once you have something produced, if it's not reaching your audience, that's going to be a big problem. So you have to get creative in the sense that, maybe you have to do some digital marketing, maybe you have to do some events. A lot of the traditional marketing has not been working for anyone lately, just because the situation we're in. But besides that, I just say just keep going at it and get creative with the marketing.
Sure. Dipesh, how about you?
Honestly, for us, marketing has been one of the challenges, but not as much as retention of the users. Because what happens is that, you have the Kindles of the world who are actually sitting with a huge, a very, very big technology team, which keeps on ensuring that the reading experience is extremely phenomenal. But since I mentioned that for a lot of us, the digital market per se is completely new. There is only so much that we can do in terms of advancement of technology, and that's why at a lot of places, either you try to make the reading experience better, or you try to save costs on servers. You have to take a hit somewhere, at least for the traditional comic book publisher who has just gone digital by just uploading all the PDFs.
Sure.
Changing the formats in which the content is available, in spite of the fact that the content is absolutely great. That is the reason why people are paying you for it. In order for it to be sticky, and in order for it to be well read, so that you have enough data points for you to call back all the people who are dropping off at a certain period of time, becomes extremely important. And that is one of the major challenges that we face, and in fact that is also one of the biggest opportunities that we have, because we are trying to overcome that and ensure that our stickiness increases. Something that has actually come out on the market and has been doing very well. In fact, I was going through the River Comics app, and honestly, everybody should go through it. They have actually made a phenomenal use of technology, wherein the comic book is actually available in a motion graphic format,
Right.
and as a reading format as well. Something that I got exposed to probably 2 to 3 years back, when I saw Madefire, the app, actually doing it. And honestly, when you create your own technology to do something like that, yes, there are disadvantages that it can't go on other platforms. But if your own platform becomes big enough, obviously people will stick on to it for time and time to come. So yeah, that is one of the challenges.
Sure. How about you, Eric? What's your take on this? Any hurdles that you kind of have to keep making sure doesn't come about?
Well, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, my philosophy has always been just going to where the least crowded channels are. So, the marketing, what we found, I found that the comic book industry is very crowded and it's very saturated, and it's there's so many people that are buying for everybody's eyeballs that what we've found is just going outside of the comic book market and actually talking to people more on the level of their perspective on the world, or even just a genre interest, that has given us that's allowed us to grow readership by 10x in a year, just going out into those communities and being able to tell folks, hey, there's stuff here that I think you're going to like, and it overcomes the barrier of, let's say, looking at, kind of like how video games used to be seen as nerdy and now they're an art form. I think that we're going to see that similar transition in comics, but I think that maybe the biggest hurdle is trying to get people to embrace comics as a serious thing as well, if they haven't already had that relationship. So yeah, but in terms of subscribers, I mean, I would just be repeating everything that's been said here. I think that once people are on and they're in it and they realize what's going on and how great it can be and how much they can have in such a small amount of time, it's really, it's not so much about keeping them. It's just a matter of making sure that they know that, comics are, worth checking out.
Sure. Ranjit, do you agree with this? Ranjit, am I audible?
You're audible. I'm just turning off my video. It seems like technology is a little bit giving up on me today.
I almost thought it's mine. So, okay. No, so do you agree with these? The issues kind of, I won't call them issues, but things that you constantly have to look out.
I'm not sure what it is.
Sorry? I think we're losing audio as well, right?
Challenges, yeah. So, I can hear you. There's a slight lag, but I can hear you.
Okay. No, so what I said was, do you agree with the points here that one of the few things that you need to keep in mind is the kind of retention or the marketing aspects of it on the digital domain?
So I agree to most of the points, but at the end of the day, if you think about it, different kind of people as well as different kind of companies will have different strengths, right? So accordingly, what is easy for me, for example, might be very difficult for Eric. What is easy for Eric might be actually challenging for Dipesh, and so on and so forth. So from Prathipi's perspective, for example, technology is something that we know. Marketing is something where we have an edge because of our other products that, there are people who are already reading something or listening something. So we can move a part of that to comics as well. For us, the challenge actually has been that people come and they say, we have read everything that you have on Prathipi Comics. Now, what do I read next? So for us, funnily enough, the challenge is to kind of have more and more supplies that people don't feel like suddenly I don't have anything else to read. And I think Dipesh touched upon this retention bit a little bit. So there are two parts to retention. One part, actually three parts maybe. One part is that people may not be just interested in the use case, and that's fine. There's nothing that you can do about it. That's a marketing problem. But the other two parts are things that we can do something about. One part because they don't like your product, and then you can improve the technology and the product and things like that. And the other part is they have literally run out of content that they really like. So in our case, at least, we are at a stage where I think expanding demand is relatively easy, but we think we need to have a lot more stories that are there on the platform.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. In fact, I think I do believe that we are down to the last 8 minutes or so. So I think I'll have a quick round of comments from you over this one point that a lot of these new artists, a lot of new indie artists especially, keep asking at various workshops or Comic Cons, when they come up and say, we are very interested in accessing the web and the digital platform to get our comics out there because we want to use the internet very well, effectively. And they ask, are there any tips for this? So I'm always the person who's like, well, I have not really delved too deep into it, but whatever I have consumed, this is what I have in mind. But I want to hear from you all because, you are the guys who are making it possible. I think I'll start with Mr. Thakkar on this. If there's a new artist, if there's a new indie creator, indie comics creator who, has no experience in the past, but he really wants to put his or her, the content out there, what are the tips you would tell that person to keep in mind when it comes to entering the web domain or the digital domain for comics?
Well, I think coming from scratch, it's difficult to kind of expose yourself out there. So the key is, and I've been through this as well too, and it's brutally honest. Just don't give up. Your content is your content. No one can take that from you. It's just a matter of time before somebody will see you, or if it's good enough content, yes, the eyes will be on there. But don't give up. I think that's the biggest thing, because if you have the talent to produce it, the internet is big, right? You have many sources, free sources, not even, you don't have to pay for a lot of things. There's so many things you can do. You can go on a lot of these Facebook forums, web forums, Reddit. There's a bunch of things you can expose yourself out to. So just don't give up. That's the key to this whole game. And it's a long game. A lot of people do give up. They say, no, you know what? No one's noticing it. No one's doing this. Yeah. I've been through this over and over again. And we're still going through, right? Like we're still in our infancy. We just launched the app last year. Actually, one of these days is probably the day last April we launched the app, right?
Oh wow!
before that, we were doing actually print comics. So, it's been a long ride, but we're getting through it, and that's the key. Just don't give up, keep going on, and don't give up on that dream that you have.
Great, because I'm sure there are a lot of artists and creators who are watching this right now live, and I think this message would go directly to them. Eric, your advice to first timers who are trying out this platform?
Yeah, I mean, comment, leaving the art and the actual craft aside, which is really just make a lot, until you're really feeling like it's something that's great. It's never been easier to find a community online to immerse yourself in and build your biggest fans in. And so find somebody who is not you, who is willing to tell you honestly what your story reminds them of,
right,
the kinds of things that makes them think about, and then use those as keywords to go seek out an online community and start showing up and delivering value. So set up a Google alert for a particular thing that's going to be relevant to that community, post articles, get involved, and then when you share your stuff, they're going to want to give you feedback. Maybe it's a Discord channel, maybe it's a subreddit.
Right.
And that way you basically start to build up one brick at a time, your group, as opposed to being on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything in between. So yeah, pick your community, find it, and then just show up, and you'd be surprised how much they'll support you.
Awesome. Ranjit, what would be your advice?
So I actually think Thakkar was right, but I want to actually talk about a story that I wrote on, not a story, but like somebody wrote something on Pratilipi's literature platform, and kind of just take that as an example of how I think a creator has to think. This writer basically wrote, obviously I don't remember the entirety, but like the crux was essentially that he started publishing something on Pratilipi 3 years back, and he was getting like 2 readers, 4 readers, 6 readers, and things like that. And he gave up. After 6 months, he came back and he again tried to write, and again 10 people, 15 people, 20 people reading. So he'd go and read other people's stories. He will go and write reviews and ask some of the people, can they give him feedback on his stories, and so on and so forth. Now the writer basically has 1.7 million readers on Pratilipi.
Wow.
One of his stories we are converting into a comic. One of his stories is going to become web series sometime towards the second half of this year.
Wow.
The basic premise is exactly what we were earlier talking about, that I think the opportunities today are a lot more than what they were earlier at any point in time. However, distribution is harder than it ever was, simply because there is also like a lot of people that you are competing off with. Which means that it's really, really important to show resilience. And it's really, really important to work on building a community, especially of your true fans. They might be 1,000 million. But if you have 1,000 true fans, they can help you reach out to 1 million people who are going to sort of like you, and who are going to read you, and who are going to propagate you. So I think if I can give 2 advices, these would be like, don't give up, as we were saying earlier, and like show some resilience, but also work on creating a distribution network where you have like, you're engaging with your top fans.
Sure. Fantastic. And Dipesh?
I actually agree to both Eric and with, of course, Ranjit. That's something that we have also been doing with a lot of other content creators out there. We've been speaking to a lot of them. I mean, one very important thing that we did was as a product of ACK Learn, we started creating workshops where we started very young with kids, so that they can understand how to make a comic book and probably put their ideas together. So like Eric mentioned, it's about finding the right communities. It actually is. I mean, while you're doing all your marketing pieces, but then when you get the right feedbacks from the market and use them as keywords to reach out to people who are thinking alike, you are going to get the right sort of people. It's not necessary that you get people in quantities, but it's important that you get the right sort of people who can appreciate and stick with your content for a larger period of time. Something like what the doodlers on Instagram are doing. I mean, we create a lot of content, and suddenly a lot of comic book creators are like, hey, you know what? I've been creating a lot of content. I've been creating a lot of comic strips, but suddenly I don't see the same kind of response like a paperback comics does. I mean, obviously he started early. He had a niche. Similarly, again, like Ranjit mentioned, and other speakers as well, it's just about not giving up. So I mean, the biggest challenge for us as a brand was that we never expanded ourselves in the international market. And today, when we are making our plans for this particular year, we are saying how can we actually make whatever we made last year from the international market, just because of our digital expansion, which was always a barrier, and suddenly it became such a huge market for us, that how do we now contain it in such a way that while we are profitable, we are actually delivering the right stuff. So it's all about that. Choose the right actions and choose the right mediums to reach out.
Sure, fantastic. So guys those of you who are listening to this or seeing this conversation online live, please make note of these points. Each one has given you a fantastic perspective. I think that will help creators go forward in better ways. There is a question that has come up here. I think you guys have already seen it, but I thought maybe one of y'all want to take it here. Is will motion graphic comics be the next big thing? And this is open to any one of you who wants to take this.
Yeah, I think it's a big transformation that's happening right now. The transition that's going on. We certainly have taken that on as well too. And by the way, I wanted to thank you guys for having me on today and get a chance to talk about this, because motion graphics don't really get a lot of exposure, and I'm glad you guys have brought this up. I know Dipesh had mentioned Madefire before. Those guys, they were doing they're doing a really good job with the motion graphics, and not a lot of people know what motion graphics are. Motion comics in the sense, it's relatively new, or it's unfamiliar to people, but I think it is going to start making big waves in the coming years. I think people will get exposed to it, and they will start realizing that, hey, there's another dimension to the comic book itself. So where it's between the comic books, a cartoon, live action, and then there's a little bit of a gap that's there. That's motion comics.
Fantastic. So I think if there are no more questions from the audience or the listeners, I think we can call it a day on this session.